Hello and welcome to the podcast series sponsored by Rainbow Hospitals. I'm your host, Pallavi. This episode is all about PCOS and pregnancy. PCOS is one word which gives a lot of self-doubt and fear, especially when it comes to pregnancy. Many women wonder, can I conceive at all? Today, we are breaking myths, understanding what PCOS actually means when it comes to fertility. To help us understand this better, we speak to Dr. Shefali Tyagi, Senior Consultant OBG at Rainbow Hospitals, Sarjapura. Hello, Doctor. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
Doctor, for someone with PCOS, how does it actually affect the chances of becoming a mother?
Actually, PCOS is a widespread problem now, and it actually affects the chances of becoming a mother. So maybe 30% people or women having PCOS might be infertile.
Okay.
And the incidence of PCO in the population can vary from maybe 13% to 26-27%. So almost 1 in 3 women has PCO. So PCO is now a proper problem in the urban settings, and now it is coming even in the rural settings. It is basically a lifestyle disease. So the sedentary lifestyle, not working out, not exercising, eating high calorie food, all this can contribute along with other factors which can be like genetics.
Okay.
It's basically a metabolic problem where a lot of hormones can be affected and it can in turn affect your fertility. So PCO has a very strong relation on infertility.
So it is the same for PCOD and PCOS both.
So PCOD is a minor version where you have period irregularities or some little hormonal imbalance. PCOS becomes a more advanced version where other organs start getting involved, and then you become susceptible to develop diabetes, cardiovascular disease, metabolic syndrome and other problems. So PCOD is a milder form of PCOS.
Why does it make harder for a woman to conceive? What happens in the body, doctor?
So in PCO, basically there is a hormonal imbalance. It's a metabolic disorder, in which many organs will be affected, and the insulin resistance is at the root cause. So insulin, you must have heard insulin, right?
Yes.
And then we know that insulin has to have a glucose metabolism, but it has effect on the other organs as well. So to make you understand, basically the male hormones start rising in a woman, which can lead to some basic symptoms. So the symptoms which you can come across if you have PCOD is that you can have irregular periods. Okay, then you can have extra facial hair or hair in other parts of the body, which is more than what is expected in a lady. Then you can have more acne or pimples. Then male pattern kind of, hair thinning or hair in other parts of the body can be higher. Plus you can have weight gain.
Okay.
And then you can have difficulty conceiving. So these are probably the symptoms which the lady or a woman will come and kind of present. So either she has irregular periods, acne, pimples, etc., or more hair, etc., or she is not able to conceive.
Okay, and this is because the rise of testosterone in a woman's body.
So testosterone is one hormone plus insulin resistance, which kind of affects your ovulation. You're not able to ovulate. That leads to infertility. So it is a kind of, mix for many things together, one leading to the other, a cascade of events, which ultimately you present as maybe not being able to conceive.
Okay. So maybe not being able to conceive is something that we are talking about, but how true that is when it comes to a lot of modern treatment or facilities that we have now, doctor?
So with treatment, many PCO women are able to conceive.
Okay.
But overall, yes, it remains challenging. So the excitement when you're planning pregnancy and then every month you keep on seeing, I've got my cycle. So the spontaneous conception sometimes becomes challenging for them. With treatment, obviously, the results are better.
Okay.
And many of PCO women will be able to conceive with the treatment. But some, in spite of treatment, might not get the desired result. And then we need assisted reproductive techniques like IVF, etc. to help them out.
Okay.
But it can be challenging in PCO to conceive spontaneously, on her own.
So what are the treatment methods here, doctor?
So actually, treatment for infertility is different. Now, the treatment depends on what symptom you have come with. Okay, because PCO can present even in an adolescent. So a 14, 15-year-old girl comes with too much of period irregularity, that I get period once in 5-6 months. Or she comes with a lot of pimples on her face and she's very conscious at this age. So then it can be a symptomatic treatment that we regulate her periods by some medicines, or we help her kind of bring down the pimples, etc. Okay, a younger woman can present as, again, period irregularity or extra weight gain, that I've gained 10 kgs in 5 months and I'm not able to lose, etc. Then a little older woman, maybe her concern might be just fertility. Older women in 40s and all, they might have again period irregularity or too much bleeding or too less bleeding and all that. So these are all again symptoms of PCO. So it depends on the symptoms and what presentation she has. Okay, so for infertility, we have many medicines which we can start as a, to help her ovulate and then help her conceive. For period irregularity, it can be contraceptive pills, which can kind of help her regulate. For hair and pimples, there are other specific pills which can be given, which will help them have the symptomatic relief.
Okay. When should a woman decide now something is wrong? Maybe a woman does not know that she has a PCO. When should she realize, or when should she visit a doctor?
So for fertility purpose, nowadays, unfortunately, the fertility is coming down very rapidly. And it has become a concern because in last 5 years, there's a lot of change from, regular fertility to less fertility, even in younger population.
Okay.
So generally, as a rule, it was advised that, let the couple try for 1 year before they get worried.
Okay.
But then at what age are we talking? Are you 32? Are you 35? So that will dictate how soon you should see a doctor. Because I get couples like, around 34 years, married for last 8 years, and now trying for 2-3 years and then, 2-3 months, and then they get worried, why is it not happening in first shot?
Right.
So when you are planning pregnancy, the advice is, please go pre-pregnancy only once and get yourself checked so that we can decide that how much time you should try for.
Okay.
If you're 35, I would not be very keen to give you 1 year because your fertility might really drop down. So if you are 28, you might try for 1 year. So it's always better to have a pre-pregnancy consultation where the blood test, your fertility, your assessment for polycystic, maybe an ultrasound, all this can be done. And then you can be prepared how to go about it, when is the time to have relations, and your healthy lifestyle, modifications have to be told.
Since you started with the first step, what are the other steps that you would like to recommend for the couple? Like the first step is you informed us pre-pregnancy itself. Okay.
So one thing is that folic acid is one vitamin tablet which needs to be started pre-pregnancy only. So ideally 2 months prior to pregnancy. Then you should have got your blood test done, like thyroid, your sugar, etc. Vitamin B12, D. These are very commonly deficient in our population. So these can be made better. Another thing which is lacking is exercise. Majority of our young women are working, IT sectors and all, no time, they're not exercising enough. And that is why this polycystic is also increasing like anything. So you have to have a little, balanced lifestyle with proper exercise and healthy eating. These two things are the root cause to kind of help you have a healthy pregnancy, faster pregnancy, and, to carry on those 9 months without too much of problems.
Okay. Now, lifestyle is something that, doctor, where we are trying to, many working women, and it's for both men and women, right? There's lack of time. Any tips that you would like to tell? Do these 3 things. It will help you improve your lifestyle.
So one thing is that lack of time. See, now people say, when I say even post-delivery, that are you exercising? They come that I have a 3 months old baby, I'm busy. But when that baby starts crawling and then walking, you'll be busier. When the baby starts going to school, you'll have homework, etc. So if you don't manage your time right now, you're not going to manage till the time baby leaves your house, maybe 18-20 years. Okay, so you cannot leave all your health just looking after the baby or the household or your office. Your health should be your number one priority. So time management, one thing, take help. Delegate some work to your husband, some other help. And majority of working women might have a weekend free. In the IT sector, there is Saturday, Sunday is free. So 2 days at least start walking or exercise, and maybe 2 more days, maybe on a Tuesday, maybe on a Thursday, half an hour walk around the office complex or 20 minutes of yoga. So you start slow. Once you start getting adjusted to it, then you yourself would want to do every day or, little more frequently. because the benefits of exercise are so much that you feel so good and nice and happy, mood uplifts, you're less tired, you're less irritable, and it is like positive all along.
What you said makes so much sense, doctor. Most of the women don't consider them to be the priority while it comes to especially a married woman. Husband becomes the priority, or if it's a joint family setup, cooking becomes the priority. And I think, like you said, women making fitness as part of their priority is where the first step starts.
So see, I see sometimes that when the school buses come in the morning and a group of mothers will come and say bye to their children, and then they'll stand there and chat for half an hour. So rather than standing, you might as well walk briskly and chat, no? Then later you say, I don't have time. So basically it's that mindfulness that yes, I need to put some effort for my health. So that helps. The second would be eating. Mindful eating. Okay, because nowadays weekends the kitchen generally is not active. So it has become a culture that eat out lot. But then indirectly it's harming us. So you can eat out, young population, it's fine, but you have to keep it contained.
Okay. What diet, since you mentioned about diet, what diet, any fruit or vegetable or any diet would you like to share which helps in fertility?
So basically, again, as the PCO is all around extra weight, it is about that weight reduction. Which will help. And so, indirectly the diet, which helps to lower down the weight. So simple carbohydrates, sugary foods, fried foods, those have to be cut down.
Basically the things that people like.
So it's not that you cannot have them in moderation. Okay, maybe 80-85% healthy food at home and 10-15% occasionally cheat out days, which is fine, which is acceptable. Plus combine it with exercise. So you must concentrate more on vegetables, more on protein-based diet, milk products, etc. So milk products, some people say that should be cut down in PCO, but if it is like tone type of milk products or fat-free, then it is still acceptable.
Okay.
So more of citrus fruits, more of otherwise fruits also, which will help to increase the antioxidants, and that will also improve your fertility.
Okay. We also know that stress also is one of the reason for PCO or infertility. When a woman is trying to get pregnant and not getting pregnant, that adds in a lot of stress,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
Doctor, your tips in handling this?
So basically, one thing I tell their respective, the couple to tell their respective parents not to keep on calling them, and asking, because the pressure comes from the society. In India, this is like very common. Right. Every month they will ask, what is happening? So let your respective moms and dads be told that, that I'm trying. When I get the good news, I'll tell you, rather than kind of putting the pressure indirectly.
Okay.
And then some form of mental health management is also important. Okay, some form of meditation, maybe listening to nice music or reading good books and all. And there should be some me time for you. Maybe 30-40 minutes where you're not engaged in the household or the office work and you are doing something which relaxes you. That is very important. So once your mental stress starts coming down, things actually start moving forward positively.
Okay.
We've seen many cases where, the couples were trying, did not succeed. Even IVF did not succeed. Then they adopted. The moment they had a baby in hand, full stress came down. And in another 3-4 months,
they conceived naturally.
Naturally, conception happened. Okay. So stress does play a very important role in making you infertile and all. So one thing is management of stress. And see, what people do wrong is they will not plan for 6 years. 6 years married life, no planning. And then suddenly when they plan, then full 6 years tension they are taking, that people are saying I'm married for 6 years, I don't have a baby. Or if started trying 1 month back, just give it time. That they're not able to understand, that their trial time is very less, but they're taking the stress for all those 6 years. I'm not able to conceive.
Absolutely. And since you consult a lot of them, this is one mistake that the couple are doing. Any other two that you would like to point out, that these are the mistakes that people are doing?
Again, lack of exercise, because I feel that exercise actually improves like quite a bit of things. So they say that if you are able to lose 5% of your body fat, your ovulation can increase up to 30-40% naturally.
Okay.
People will come and they say themselves that when I kind of, exercise, my periods are regular. Otherwise, when I leave, it starts becoming irregular. And then less screen time, because screen time is also eating away your mental peace, plus not giving you enough time to exercise and, indulge with each other. It's basically that bond which you create with your partner that is also equally important.
True. And since you mentioned screen time, doctor, a lot of women know more than the doctors now, thanks to the AI and others. How do you handle these? Would you recommend people know about all these things, or how does that play a role?
No, so like having information is good. Okay, you put your symptoms, you get something, but just having a closed mind and okay, the chat GPT said this or the Instagram said that, that is little irritating. You listen to the doctor also who has kind of individualized your case, your background, your hormone profile, your ultrasound, how much have you tried, and then giving you the opinion rather than a generalized thing. So basically, knowledge in moderation is fine, but some people will argue, but this is saying that then, okay, then you let the Google handle your case and, you can get the delivery done by the Google. So then, we have learned how to kind of tackle these cases, but yes, it can be slightly irritating for the doctor, frankly.
And a lot of overwhelmed, to-be mom is going to be overwhelmed with a lot of information. That is true. Also there, right?
That is also there. So it's always better to check with the doctor rather than, going with the myths and all. So many myths about food and all, like, can't eat pineapple, etc. This is hot food, this is cold food. Scientifically, we don't have any evidence.
Okay.
So essentially, these foods are all safe, but people will come and give you advice. Anybody who has had a child in India is equivalent to an obstetrician and can give you the full advice about pregnancy and childbirth. So.
Okay. So trust your doctor is what you're trying to tell.
Right.
Do PCOS symptoms change after pregnancy? Is it curable? Will it go completely after the delivery?
So basically, PCOS is not curable as such, okay, but symptoms can subside. Okay, so it is one thing, a treatable thing that, okay, whatever symptoms are bothering, we kind of give you the treatment. But essentially, when people lose weight, because if it was created only by your extra weight and you lose those extra kgs, it can sort of become much better.
Okay.
So actually there's a wide spectrum of PCO. It's not only that, okay, so there can be best of PCO to a worst of PCO. Okay, so you can start coming from mid position to best of PCO, and then you might not even realize that there's something PCO brewing. Only if we do strict blood test and ultrasound, then can we find out. So basically, yes, it can be improved, but again, it is all about the healthy lifestyle. And majority of people who have PCO might be overweight or obese. Okay, but nowadays we do see PCO in even leaner women. But overall, the advice is still lifestyle modification is the first step to get rid of PCO. And exercise is equally important for even leaner women. It is not that, okay, because your weight is not high, don't do anything. Okay, so that is the first step to make it better.
You also spoke about myths during our conversation. What are some of the biggest myths about PCO that you would like to break here? Bust the myth.
So first is that you can't conceive if you have PCO, or there's a tag which is kind of put, and then people will just the first line she will say is, I have PCO, and when I probe, I might not find any PCO. So somebody randomly would say, and then they carry that weight, and then they don't do anything about it because they think, oh, there's a disease, so I cannot do much about it. So first thing is that PCO is slightly loosely used in India. It's like, that there are strict criteria to diagnose you as PCO, but every other scan might say, oh, PCO. And when we see that volumes of the ovaries and all, they might be still in normal range.
Okay,
so in the strict criteria, they might not still fit as PCO. So one thing is that if somebody has told you PCO, don't take it as a burden, right? So you can talk to the doctor, okay, these are my symptoms, how can I make it better, and what treatments will help me? So that will actually bring down the problems that you're facing.
Okay.
And then one thing is that you can't conceive. That is not true. We have adequate treatments and help to help you conceive. Okay. Others, as such, myths about PCO are not much.
Okay. One strong message that you would like to give women trying to conceive with PCO?
So the first message which would take a consultation with the doctor quite early. Okay, so that you're clear. It is not that all PCO women will have to undergo treatment. It's not like that. But at least you will know that, okay, how much to try spontaneously and when to come back. So first consultation with the doctor, then lifestyle modification. I've been just banging on that, but you have to do it. That is the way out. Okay, and then if it is not working out, then we can talk about the medication which are available. And when you follow, many women will conceive. In fact, they say that the success rate can be as high as 64-65% only with simple medicines to make you help conceive. Wow. So others might require more advanced treatment.
Thank you, doctor, for sharing a lot of information. One thing I understand from our conversation is PCO does not mean infertility. Thank you for spreading that ray of hope. Thank you so much.
Thank you.